Welcome to American Baker in Germany. I'm Michelle, and today we are making my recipe for sugar cookie cutouts. It's really not very difficult, and so let's get started.
With the ingredients, we need 1 cup or 250 grams of butter, 1 cup or 200 grams of sugar, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract or 1 tablespoon vanilla sugar, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, 3 cups or 375 grams of flour. I start out by creaming my butter. You can cream it as long or as short as you want, as long as the butter is nice and creamy. I sometimes add my salt and baking soda at this point. I do the palm measure. The center of your palm is about 1/4 teaspoon. Feel free to measure more precisely if you like. Then I add the sugar and cream everything together. Next, I add my egg. And my vanilla extract. I just eyeball this. So far, so good. Now I add half of my flour at a time. This calls for quite a bit of flour, so it's best if you add it in segments. Once all of the first amount of flour is incorporated, we can add the rest. You will immediately notice that the dough is quite dry, almost crumb-like. Just mix it all as best you can with the mixer, but at some point it will be easier to come together if you knead it for just a minute. My dough is just a touch sticky, probably because the butter was so soft. So I add just a bit more flour, maybe 1/4 cup. You may not need this. You know it's right when the dough is no longer sticking to the sides of the bowl. Now, I don't chill my dough. There, I said it. I hate chilling my dough because it makes the process of baking take so much longer. I want to get on with it, so I have my own method for rolling out cookies. I prepare 2 pieces of parchment paper just the right size to fit my baking tray. Then I do not flour my surface, just my rolling pin. I roll out some dough just about the right size to fit within my parchment paper. When I'm happy with the thickness, typically about 1/4 inch, I can begin cutting out the cookies. Today I'm using a Harry Potter cookie cutter because these cookies are for my daughter's Harry Potter themed birthday party. You want these cookies to be close but not touching each other. These don't spread very much in the oven, but they spread a tiny bit, so make sure they're not touching each other. Once you've cut out all your shapes, instead of trying to pick up the cookie dough, just remove the excess dough around them. Try not to touch your cutouts if you can help it. Now we need to bake these at 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 160 degrees Celsius for 8 to 10 minutes. Just pull the entire piece of parchment paper onto the tray. It's magical. The reason we cut 2 pieces of parchment paper is that while those are baking, you can get to work on the next batch. Same deal. Roll out the dough, but only flour your rolling pin. Cut out your shapes, remove the excess dough between them. Now when they're almost done, they will look like this. They should no longer look shiny. These are just a touch pale. 1 minute later, they look like this, just barely starting to brown the edges. Now they're done. I don't know about you, but I've broken tons of cookies trying to take them off the baking sheet. So it's really nice to be able to pick them up all at once by the paper. Parchment paper doesn't retain heat, so you can touch it with your hands. Just avoid the baking tray. It's a simple transfer. Take off one sheet, put on the other. Saves tons of time and keeps the batch baking at all times. Allow the cookies to cool maybe a minute, and you can just lift them right off. No breaking, no sticking, and you can reuse the parchment paper for the next batch. Keep doing this until you've baked all of your dough. The nice part about not using tons of flour is that you can always reuse all of the dough. It doesn't dry out like it does if you roll it out on a floured surface. Now I must admit that the cookies do spread in the oven just a tiny bit, which is fine for probably 90% of the reasons you make sugar cookies. However, for those last 10% where it's essential that something not spread, I would recommend chilling your dough in the fridge after you've cut your shapes on the parchment paper but before you bake them. Chill them for maybe 20 minutes or so, and then bake them an extra minute or two and you will get zero spreading. If you like what we do here, consider subscribing for regular recipes and tutorials. These cookies are perfect for Christmas cookies, just regular cookies, or for extra decorations. These are quite stable and hold their shape. They would work to make a gingerbread house as well. Just roll out the dough a little extra thick and bake them an extra 3 to 4 minutes. It's perfect for those who don't care for gingerbread. These are great when decorated with royal icing, but you can use buttercream as well. This recipe makes about 3 or 4 dozen depending on the size of your cutters. When I get to the end of the dough, I roll little balls of dough and I press them down to make the last of the cookies so no dough is wasted. I hope you enjoyed the recipe today and that it helps you to make the perfect vanilla cookie cutouts for your project. For more cakes and tutorials, visit our website at AmericanBakerInGermany.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe.
Ding dong bong bong. Inside my head pop. It's on.